It's obviously it's too wet to do any tilling, but man, look at that dirt. And just look at it rain. I smell a skunk.
Well, it's week 3, and the cookie jar is empty again. Welcome back to Harmony Hill Homestead. Today we are going to be making the best oatmeal cookies that you have ever tasted. So the first thing that we did is I got my butter. It's a half a cup of butter. And I browned it pretty good. I like it. I like mine a little bit toasty tasting. So you're going to take a half a cup of butter. You're going to melt it just like we did with our chocolate chip cookies. Okay. After we do that, we're going to go ahead and add in our salt. And I'm going to mix that in. That's a half of a teaspoon of salt. And then I've got a half a teaspoon of baking soda and a fourth of a teaspoon of baking powder. We're going to go ahead and add that in. I'm going to mix all that in right now before we add our sugars in, because I like that to be good and dissolved. Okay. So the next thing that we're going to add in here is a half a cup of white sugar and a half a cup of brown sugar. And I've already pre-mixed them together, so. And then we are going to just start like we always did before, or like we always do. We're going to mix this until it becomes like wet sand. I really do make the cookies a lot alike most of the time. Just make sure everything is incorporated really well. Vanilla. Just gonna stir, stir, stir. Smells so good already. Alright. Now I'm gonna add in a half of a teaspoon of ground cinnamon. We're going to mix that in as well. This smell is amazing already. Just want to make sure that all your powders and your your soda and everything are mixed in really well. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is add in our egg. You'll remember last time, make sure you break those fresh eggs in a bowl away from it. We're going to mix them in. I find eggs everywhere, all over this place. It's ridiculous. We're just going to add this egg in. That was a nice large egg. It's going to make some really good oatmeal cookies. I'm going to actually add walnuts and raisins in this to make it just extra yummy. So once you put that egg in, you can really tell if you have everything mixed. So just mix, mix, mix until everything is mixed. You don't want any pockets with like any type of little baking powders or anything like that. You don't want a baking powder pocket. There was a little piece right there. Okay, so it's going to be about like this right here. See? Next thing we're going to add is a teaspoon of vanilla. Man, that smells so nice. And there we go. Okay, so now we're going to sift our flour in. I am using a whole wheat flour with this. You can use all-purpose flour if you decide to do that. It's fine. It's perfectly fine. But as always, I sift my flour. Put that aside. And then we're just going to mix this in. I like using the whole wheat flour with my oatmeal cookies because it just makes them a little bit more healthy, I guess. I mean, as healthy as a cookie can be, I suppose. So what we're going to do, we're just going to stir this again until everything is incorporated. You don't want any white left. Cookies are some of the easiest things to make. So if you are a new baker and you're just starting out, cookies are something that you can do and get a little bit of accomplishment under your belt and make you feel really good about yourself. Another thing, don't bake when you're not feeling well. It's just something about like when you're not on your best game that just things don't always turn out really well. I don't know why. It's just how it is. Okay, so now we've got everything mixed in really well, as you can see. Okay, I'm going to add in 1.5 cups of oats. These are my old-fashioned oats. Just a good organic or any kind of oat that you get. Not the quick oats. You're going to use the old-fashioned oats. And then we're going to just start mixing this in just like we did the flour. And I know it looks a little dry. It's okay. Just work with it until you get it all mixed in there. Because these are oatmeal cookies. Now, if you don't want as much oatmeal in your oatmeal cookies that I have, then just don't put as much oatmeal. You make your cookie the way that you want to make your cookie. Okay? Okay. So everything is mixed in now. I am going to add in, let's say, about a half a cup of raisins. One thing about raisins, you can actually, if you vacuum seal raisins, and that's how I keep my raisins, if you vacuum seal them, they'll keep for up to 5 years. I know it sounds crazy, but they do. And you just kind of eyeball it. If you want more raisins, and put more raisins. If you want, you know, less oats than what I use, then put in less oats. I think I forgot to tell y'all, but you need to have your oven preheated to 375. Oops. Mine's already heated. Because I was making chicken before. I may add some more raisins in, but now I've got some chopped walnuts. I'll put those in there. And then we'll mix all that in. This looks so yummy to me. I'm just saying how yummy this looks. Like, I could eat this for breakfast and probably be okay with it. Just gonna keep stirring. I think that was about the right amount of raisins. Now, I make my oatmeal cookies bigger than my normal cookies. So let me move this stuff out of the way and get my cookie sheet. I remember my trusty cookie sheet. Okay, everything's really good incorporated in there. So I take a bigger, it's like a 2 tablespoon a 2 tablespoon scoop. Oops. And you can also just use your hands if you want. I mean, it's just completely up to you. Now, I can only get about 8 of these on one cookie sheet because they're so big. They're a lot bigger than my other cookies. So, once I get them on the cookie sheet, I just press them down to where they're flat, trying to keep my if you're making them for other people besides your family, yeah, don't use your hands, but yeah, no, we're gonna eat these. So I just press them flat, and they go into the oven. Eight to 12 minutes. Okay, so once your cookies come out of the oven, again, you want to make sure you pull them out when they look just a little bit underdone. You're actually going to let these are a little bit different than our other ones. You're going to let these sit in on the cookie sheet for 5 minutes. So as soon as these have set here for 5 minutes, I can move them over to the cooling rack. So okay, so it's been 5 minutes and we can move our cookies over to our cooling board, which is a piece of marble cutting board that I purchased. These are super soft, chewy cookies. You'll love them. Okay, so we're gonna put them on our cookie sheet. Press them down again. I got so much stuff in it, sometimes they fall apart. I mean, it does, the mix does look dry, but you really want it that way. I'll show you what I do when I'm making them for other people, just so you'll be like, oh, okay. She doesn't use her hands with everything she bakes. When it's for my family, I do. If you press it down in there, it helps to retain the shape of them. I'm going to try to get the rest of these on this one cookie sheet. Which actually only makes about 16 to 18 cookies, so. You can, of course, double the recipe if you want more, but I'm going to redo that one that I put on first. See if I can get it a little bit better and use the rest of this. So put it back over here. Put it back in this and try to get the rest of this in there. I really try to use all of my batter because, I mean, you know, that's money. And it's yummy stuff, so. I want every last walnut, every last little raisin. Okay. So now you can just take your spatula and press them down like this. If you're worried about just touching them, you know, but I don't really worry about it, so. Right. Take this, put it in the oven, 8 to 10 more minutes. We'll be done with our cookies. Perfect.